So if I may humbly request, the first question going out to our first speaker, Sheikh Tim Humble. Please frame your question as effective as possible, and we'd request the speakers as well to give the most effective answer at the same time.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is, in this time, when there is co-education and there is mix of boys and girls, this is the common phenomena that people say that boys can ask their parents for marriage, but girls, they cannot ask. How we can deal with this? And it's very difficult for the girls to deal when they don't want even to take the higher education. They want themselves to go in halal, not in haram. Jazakallah.
Okay, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, amma ba'd. This is a very, very good question. And there are just a couple of very, very quick points I would like to make. The first very quick point that I would like to make is that while I was talking about beginning this issue from the age of adulthood, we have to realize that when it comes to tarbiyah and raising our children, these issues can be solved at a much earlier phase in life. And the fact is that when our children are brought up in a way that is contradictory to the rules and the laws of Islam at a young age, then that does follow through later on in life. Those children do feel that effect when they are older. And so correcting these issues from the beginning, from a very, very young age, no doubt that leads to a correction of them at an older age. And I'll just give one simple example. I remember a very young boy in Medina, around about 6 years old. He was the son of one of the shuyukh, one of the scholars of Islam. And he came into a gathering of ladies. And he's 6 years old. So the ladies did not have hijab. And he looked and put his head down to the floor. And he said, please, aunties, cover your head. The ladies were shocked. Where did this young boy of 6 years old learn to lower his gaze? But subhanallah, look at that kind of tarbiyah that he has learned from his father, that he wants to apply this at an age when he doesn't know what it means. But when he becomes older, this follows through. So when we talk about mixed classes and these kind of issues, I wanted to highlight that these should be solved at a very, very early age. And we don't allow this until the problem gets worse at 15, 16, 17. We will then look to solve it. Rather, we look to solve this problem when the children are very, very young. And if we allow this in our own homes and in our own areas when they're very, very young, then for sure when they get older, this will be a problem. My second point that I wanted to raise very, very quickly is the importance of communication between the parents and the children. And I think one of the saddest things when it comes to marriage is a breakdown in communication. And I say to the parents that if you do not talk to your children about marriage and you do not address the issue of marriage with your children, then your children will address it with someone else. And they will talk about it with someone else. So if you don't get in there early and deal with the issue, then for certain what will happen is your children will get that from somebody else. And that person may not have their best interests at heart. So it's really important to open the communication and be in touch with what your child is feeling and what your child is wanting, whether they are boys or girls. We should also be aware of the difference between culture and Islam and the fact that not everything in our cultures is Islamic. And so sometimes we differentiate between boys and girls in something that the Sharia doesn't differentiate between them in. And so in this regard, we must be careful that when our culture contradicts Islam, that we put Islam ahead of our culture. And those are just a few very, very small points. And otherwise, I don't want to take the time from the brothers and the shuyukh in terms of their time to answer as well. So I hope that has at least touched a little bit upon the topic. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.